Hi guys, welcome back to Rev Solutions. So today's video I've got the Yamaha MT-10 SP version. This bike starts at £16,500 from Yamaha. It's got fully adjustable Öhlins electronic suspension. It's exclusively in this beautiful blue silver colour scheme, which is really nice. It's almost the same as the Yamaha R1. It's got a full colour TFT display, which is really in depth. You've got a torque-rich 4-cylinder cross-plane engine which delivers about 62-65 brake horsepower. The engine is actually derived from the Yamaha YZF R1 and also the chassis, so they're pretty much exactly the same bike. This is just a naked version. It's got strong and linear low to mid-range torque. This is a beast. Literally, you crank that throttle on, she wants to sit on the rear wheel. It's almost got a bit too much power for, or say torque, for what is needed on the road. You just can't put the power down comfortably without it wanting to sit on that rear wheel. It's got a blipper down and a quick shifter up, which is really smooth compared to a lot of other bikes I've found out there, and it's got a aluminium Delta box chassis, so it is a nice light bike. It's a liquid cooled double overhead cam 4-valve cylinder engine. Displacement is obviously 1000cc. It's a litre. It's actually 998cc, but it's a litre bike. The max torque is 111 newton meters at 9000 rpm. The transmission is a 6-speed gearbox. It's chain driven. It consumes about 8 litres per 100 kilometres. Front travel is 120mm and the rear is also 120mm. The front brake is a hydraulic disc and the rear is a hydraulic single disc, dual disc at the front, single disc at the rear. Your front tyre, you're looking at a 120/70/17 and your rear tyre is a 190/55/17. Overall length of this bike is 2095mm with a width of 800mm. Overall height of the bike is 1110mm. So the seat height on this bike is 825mm. I've got no issues whatsoever of getting my feet, both of them flat-footed when I'm on level ground. It's really nice, comfortable bike to get your confidence up, making sure you can get both feet flat on the floor.
I've picked this up from Crescent Yamaha down in Southampton, and when I picked this bike up it had literally 0 miles on the clock, and to prove it, here's the evidence. So I've ridden it. It is filthy due to the roads. They're just horrific at the moment. Got a nice gold chain on this one, and I'm absolutely loving it. As you all know, if you watch my channel frequently, I'm not a naked bike fan. However, the MT10 SP version is definitely changing my opinion on that, because this one is absolutely fantastic so far from what I've experienced. Let's put this visor down. Unfortunately, I was going to pop into Lumi's, but Lumi's is shut. There's a note on the window, but I didn't really want to read it. I'm hoping that stays on because it looks a little bit wobbly. So the MT10 SP. This has got about 162 horsepower or 165 PS. I don't get what the PS is all about, so I looked into it a bit more, and it actually stands for that word, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like a metric horsepower, and horsepower is mechanical horsepower. So there you go, that is the difference. If you do not know, there's about a 98% difference, so it's less on the traditional horsepower, mechanical, than it is on the other one. Anyway, I digress. The MT-SP, brilliant bike. The wind mirrors, I guess it's like most motorcycles, you're spoiled if you get wind mirrors that are further forward, whereas on this one they're up by your elbows, or well, you're up by your wrists. So with my offside one, I have to keep dropping my elbow in. Near side one, I've actually managed to get it spot on. Just can't get that offside one to go quite as well. It's got a nice riding position. Your back is dead straight. I mean, you're not slouching forward. However, obviously you can do if you really want. There is that ability on the MT series to turn them into a bit more of like a racer style bike, but it is relatively comfy. I mean, like I was saying, it's got a hard seat. However, it doesn't really cause you any issues. certainly isn't causing me any issues with the hard seat. It's very firm. The display is phenomenal. When you look down, you can see everything you want to see. It is quite cluttered, but I think that's like the majority of TFT displays these days. Nothing is ever straight forward with only a couple of bits of information, but everything you need is right there. Got a nice fuel gauge on the right, your revs throughout the middle, and your gear indicator right down the bottom. And it's typical that it's starting to rain now, and it winds on absolutely lovely. There's obviously mode A, B, C and D on this bike. I've got a feeling this is going to come off. Look too good, so I'm just going to put that face in that way. Hello. Yeah, there's modes A through to D. One big gripe I've got about the MT with its mode selector is the fact that when you go to change mode when you're riding, it says you can't. This is your mode button there. It outlines it very lightly with an outline, and then use the up and down arrows to go through it. However, even if you roll off the throttle and you try and change it, you can change the power, but you can't change the mode, which is slightly frustrating. You think Yamaha would allow you to do that? Like on a lot of Hondas, you can just roll off throttle and pick up the new mode that you want, but for some reason Yamaha aren't too keen on letting you do that, which is a real shame, because it means that you literally have to come to a stop, both wheels dead stop, before you can carry on again. Now I am going to go into the George and the Falcon pub, and I'm going to try and tighten up that camera, because that is about to fall off. And as you saw in one of my previous videos, obviously I lost my Insta360 a little while ago. I don't fancy doing that on the another camera, because that will bring me down to just one camera. So what's going wrong here?
It's got minimum ground clearance of 130 millimeters. The bike weighs in at 210 kilograms. It's got a 17 litre fuel tank, and it takes 3.9 litres of fuel. 16,500 £, one colour scheme. It is on the high side, but you've got a lot of performance out of this engine. Personally, I wouldn't pay 16.5 grand for it, but you know what I mean, a lot of people buy these on PCP deals, so you're not looking at the full 16.5 grand by the time you've had it for 3 or 4 years. Styling wise, I think this looks absolutely fantastic. The front end is very much transformery. I think it looks really smart. One thing I do, which I've said in the video, I think it needs 2 running headlights rather than just the one. I don't think it's enough visibility. The air intakes look fantastic. I really like how they've got the dual air intakes with a nice mesh grille at the front, and then obviously at the top of the bike you've also got your air intake scoops as well, which just, I guess, vent some air out if it is taking too much air in. I'm making it up, I haven't got a clue, but it looks cool. Tail tidy, obviously ditch that off, get one on there, but it's got to come out of factory with a tail over the rear wheel. The rear swing arm, that looks really nice in its aluminium. It's got a nice, you can see the welds on there as well, so that looks quite smart how they've left the welds visible. Nice blue rims as well. Again, the bike is just a premium looking bike. You got your brake reservoir at the top, get a nice Yamaha sock on there or something like that, and it will just finish it off nicely. De-sticker it, obviously if you buy the bike it's going to look a lot nicer with that complete aluminium tank, and get some good old tank protectors for your knees, just so you got extra grip, and this bike will really put a smile on your face. Maybe at the front could do with a bit more of an up windscreen rather than a sloped back one, just give you a little bit of wind protection, but again, it's a naked bike. If you want wind protection, you're not going to buy a naked bike. The front gold forks look awesome, and the rear suspension in its gold O-lins with the yellow shock again looks fantastic. What more can I say really? This bike looks awesome. Get a nice can on that as well, and it is going to finish it off really nicely. Potentially the engine could have done with a bit of like tarting up a little bit. You could put some gold into that as well, just to make it look a little bit more in your face with the suspension setup.